Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. Thank you, River and Chris. I'm going to ask you to please turn your cell phone off or on airplane mode, if you would please do so. And we'll get started. And we're going to begin with a drum prayer to bring our community together. Welcome.
Let us gather our collective intentions Kat's ancestors were deep and ancient. I invite you to bring in your ancestors, specifically the well ancestors, the wise ones, the healers, to help her on her journey. Let's focus on Kat's heart, her huge, magnificent, exquisite, compassionate, nurturing, and infinite heart. We love you, Kat. We love you so, so, so much. We honor you, we cherish you, and we feel you all around us. Always. And forever.
Thank you. You may be seated as the family are seated.
Dear friends, my name is Magnus, and I'm the senior pastor here at First Baptist Church of Asheville. And I wanted to stand before you to extend the warmest welcome. I'm just told that Kat, just a few weeks ago, remarked to Patrice as they drove by the church, you know, when I die one day, they're going to have the service at First Baptist. Well, on behalf of First Baptist Church, my congregation, and personally with a full heart, I extend my sympathies first to you, Patrice, to all of your dear family, to all of you, friends, acquaintances, everyone who's come and gathered here from near and far. I'm glad you're here, and I want to make sure you know that you are welcome here, that Kat was always welcome here, and that we at First Baptist aspire to raise our children to be people like Kat. So I pray the Spirit will rest gently on you in these sacred hours to come and enable you to be your full selves and to know that you sit in a place and with a people in spirit who aspire to the mission of beautiful belonging. I also want to say that we are a musical church and we have a long tradition of raising up our voices to God with aspirations finally, I want to repeat ancient words from one of the first saints, Irenaeus, who said long ago that the glory of God was a human being fully alive. And so may we all give thanks to God for all the myriad and bright glimpses of the glory of God that we got to enjoy in the person, in the work, in the artistry, and the friendship of Cat Williams. Bless you all.
Thank you, Pastor. And I am Reverend Darlene Strickland from Unity of the Blue Ridge, where Cat Williams was a member, and it is our honor. I can personally tell you, First Baptists have bent over backwards to make this space available. And at Unity, we like to show our appreciation with applause. So would you please thank these wonderful people. Those cheers are not speaking in tongues, so don't get nervous. That's an ancient sound of undulation that someone introduced at the last service that Cat Williams happened to attend. And so if you hear that level of celebration today, know it is the highest honor of praise. On behalf of Cat's family, of Patrice, her wife, of Deb, her sister, Alex, mother-in-law, and the entire family that are here, on behalf of them, they want to welcome you. And they want to thank all of you who are in this program. Putting this program was interesting because half of Asheville offered to be in it. That tells you the impact that Cat Williams made. We're committed to keep this program up until about 4 o'clock today. But I want to ask you before I open in prayer to look around. Just pause a moment and look around. Because this is what love looks like. Every person here today has been touched by Cat Williams, and in some way you have also touched her life. And I have to say, Cat would love this crowd, and she would love these Alabama Roll Tide colored flowers. So thank you, whoever put that in place. Would you join me in an opening prayer? Beloved Creator, Holy Spirit of love, presence that lives within us and flows through all creation. We pause together now with hearts that are heavy. We call upon that love that holds us. We call upon the light that guides us, the peace that can comfort, the strength that can sustain. Today, as we join together to celebrate, as Cat wanted a party, a celebration, we celebrate a life and we honor the tears and the grief. We also honor the joy and the laughter. May the sanctuary be a place of healing. May this service ignite your power, God, the power of God, the power of love, the power of light, in us individually and collectively to be the light of this world that we're already created to be. May peace touch every heart, and may gratitude for Cat's life shine brightly among us. In the name of all that is, the Holy One, thank you, God, and so it is. How many of you have a story you can tell about Cat? How many of you have an inappropriate story you can tell? All right, you're in the right, I got the right crowd. On the front of her program is, to me, one of the most beautiful pictures of Cat, a beautiful woman. Exactly 2 weeks ago, 2 Sundays ago, I shared the stage, the platform with Cat. She was offering our special music at Unity. And that Sunday, we had a dear friend in town, Kaya, who lives in Hawaii, but happened to be here only twice in 11 years. And so I asked Cat to sing a song that Cat loved, and Kaya played the trumpet. So I'm going to ask Eddie Watkins Jr. now, and the band, and Mary Kay Williams, to sing a song. Eddie is someone, a musician, every musician on this stage, and there are hundreds more that Kat admired. But I want you to listen to the words of this song, because these are the last words, the last song, sort of in a prophetic knowing that Kat knew that Sunday that her soul would take flight that Wednesday. Eddie Watkins Jr., I Fly.
I let it go. I release the thing I'm clinging to. I release what's holding me, and I'm falling into God's love. I let it be. There's nothing more for me to do. Nothing more to say, I'm just falling into God's love. I feel Spirit holding me. It's lifting me on high.
Watkins and the band. That was incredible. Thank you. It's the last song the Cat sang on stage, and it was that vivacious. Because if you know Cat, she didn't sing, she sang. She loved other people that sang. If you look at your program, as February 24th, 1967, through November 12th, 2025, 2 dates with a single dash in between. My friends, that dash is small on paper. That dash is small on a memorial marker. That dash, called Cat Williams' life, holds a universe. That dash holds every song she ever sang. Every laughter she gave and she sparked. Every person she lifted. It holds every struggle that she endured and overcame. It holds every prayer, every whisper. It carries her humor, her heart, her reverence, and her irreverence. Her being late just to keep my prayer life up. She said, "It's good for you, Reverend." Sing it, my faith. That dash carries the story of a woman that was bigger than life in my eyes. And that song, I Rise, it reminds us that a very human part of life includes death. That each of us were born and will take life and have life. And each of us will release this life and will die. And to many of us who believe in our spirit that we are spirit at the core of our being, believe that Cat lives on in spirit, that maybe we will live on in spirit, and still, that does not change the fact that grief, my friends, is very real. That loss is very real. I can tell you I've cried many times already because I just can't imagine not hearing that woman sing again. And I know you feel that today too. So a little bit about Cat. Katrina Marie Williams. Born in Buffalo, New York. She was born into the foster care system, and at 5 days old, she went into the home of Mary and L.C. Williams. One of her older sisters, by 10 years old, Deb, is here today. Deb actually moved here in September, relocated her whole life to be close to Cat. Cat came in at 5 days old and was the 31st foster child, and the last. They adopted Cat, along with another. Cat said her parents were really like grandparents. They were in their 60s when she came in and was born. And Cat's mother was sick oftentimes. And Cat, as a child, read in Reader's Digest that laughter was a type of medicine, that if you could make people laugh, it would alleviate pain. And Cat told me many times that she took that very seriously. And so she made it her job. She's put on productions, as only Cat could put on, to entertain her mom. One of her high school classmates reached out to me and said she made our class laugh every day. Cat knew that laughter was medicine. How many of you have laughed with Cat? Yeah. As a child, she went to her Mother Mary's church. It was a very lively church, and so when Cat was invited to sing in a Catholic choir, she took that liveliness right over there with her. They excused her. That big spirit would never fit in a little box. And she went home to tell her mother Mary, not knowing what to think, and Mary said, "Honey, you're just participating in life." Cat said, "I wasn't taught to fail. I was taught to participate in life. And if it knocks you down, you get back up and you find another way to participate. If they don't like what you're doing, that's okay. You brush yourself off and you keep participating in life. Kat learned that lesson early. And those words sort of became a mantra for her life, I believe, that she was participating in life by age 12. Her mother was then sick, and many of the siblings, most were gone, and Kat was literally running the household at 12 years old. She was doing the shopping, the cooking, the laundry, the buying the groceries. She was getting it done at 12 years old. When she was 17 years old, Mary, her mother, died. Her father had already passed, and that left Kat at 17 to go right back into the foster care system. She was placed in a part of New York that was not safe, and literally for fear of her life, she confided in some of her teachers, and this is where community became a heartthrob for Kat. She spent one night in that apartment, and every other night, for the rest of her junior year and all of her senior year, she stayed with teachers, people that would give her care packages. She talked about a coach that she thought was terribly mean, Coach Cerati, her softball coach, until Coach Cerati started bringing her care packages. They pulled together. They gave her hope. They never stopped believing in her. Her coach helped her obtain a softball scholarship where she went to college. You want to guess what she studied? Criminology and theology, guns and Jesus. Sounds about right, doesn't it? Throw in Buddha and Mother Mary and Kuan Yin and notice Kat. After 3 years in university, she had the opportunity to join the police academy, and she did. We're honored to have Sheriff Quinton here today. She went into the academy in New York State, and as she graduated, she went to work. She worked 12 years for the New York State Department of Corrections. She spent a number of years working in the notorious Sing Sing prison. In 1997, she moved here to Asheville. She followed a love and moved here, and then the love moved on and left her once again homeless. Just coming to Asheville, North Carolina in 1997, her credentials in New York didn't transfer immediately, and so it took her over 6 months to be able to go to work, and so she lived in her car. And again, many people began to help her. 1997. She would soon be hired and began to work with Buncombe County Sheriff's Department. She worked at Craggy Prison. She worked at the Sheriff's Department and became their program coordinator. And Kat noticed that a lot of her colleagues, a lot of friends would go drinking after work. And Kat grew up in a home and had many siblings who had, quite frankly, been to prison. She grew up in a hard part of New York. And she did not want her life caught up in drugs and alcohol. But she liked people. And so she decided she would go to the clubs, but rather than cocktails, she would try karaoke. And so it happened right here in Asheville at Trace's. She began singing karaoke. She'd go on to win a contest. She would be offered a job to sing other places, and she used to sing with her back to the audience until one day the piano player said, "Honey, they can still see you. You may as well turn around." And she did. She became the house singer at Magnolias, where she sang for 8 years. So 1997, she moves here. She's starting to sing at Trace's. 1998, Robin Williams comes to town, and they film the movie Patch Adams. You may or may not know that the crew from Patch Adams, including Robin Williams, would go and hang out at Trace's after they were recording. And so they got to know Kat. Kat got to know Robin Williams. And Robin and Kat both knew the healing power of humor. And so when the movie was over, the cast worked it out with Kat to fly her to surprise Robin Williams at the wrap-up party when they finished the filming of that. It was one of the things that she lit up when she really talked about that, and she remained in touch with him throughout his life. She's won many different awards. You'll hear more about those. She was on America's Got Talent. She sang on the Mississippi Queen in New Orleans. At one time, she was doing over 150 shows a year. She opened for Shaka Khan. She was on the Jay Leno show. I met Kat 11 years ago. My home was North Carolina, the other end of the state, and I was moving back to North Carolina after being many other places to take the role of the senior minister at Unity of the Blue Ridge, coming back to these beautiful mountains. And my very first Sunday, I asked, who is the most soulful singer in town? And immediately, say it with me, Kat Williams. And I said, please connect me with her. I soon had a phone number. I connected with Kat. I told her what I was looking for. And after about 2 minutes, she said, I got you. And I'm thinking, I don't think you do got me. I don't really know what I'm talking about. But she did. My second week, she showed up and she blew my hair back. I love Kat. From that day, we've been in each other's lives. We've been very good friends. She made Unity her spiritual home, and it was my honor in 2018 to officiate the wedding of Kat and Patrice when they were married. And just before that time, Kat she would do a lot of charity work, a lot of fundraising gigs. She said, Pastor, I need to talk to you. So we scheduled a meeting one day, and she came in and she told me that she had been scheduled to do a nonprofit charity fundraiser, and when they found out that she was part of the LGBTQ plus community, they canceled her. And she came in, and the thing about Kat, if you know Kat was not a victim. Kat was not bitter. Kat did not get angry. Was she disappointed? Yes. But Kat told me about it. She said, I just thought I'd tell you, Reverend, because I invited all them to our church. So if you hear anything about it, you'll know what happened. I'm like, okay, Kat Williams. So today, for the next 90 minutes or so, you're going to hear, we've intentionally created speakers to represent unique parts of her life. She was a big presence, a beautiful woman. Her smile got you before her voice did. And so how do we carry her forward? Well, I think some things that she would ask us to do is to participate in life, like her mom taught her. To follow your bliss, even if it starts in karaoke. To find humor and use it as healing. Kat also believed in the golden rule, and she believed in karma. She would remind us to lift others up. She'd remind you to keep going. That woman knew what it was to really have some tough knocks. But she kept going, because that's who Kat was. A daughter, a wife, a sister, a friend, a miracle, a powerhouse. Today, a singing angel in my world. And so we thank you, Kat. And I invite Lyric to the stage. Lyric is someone that Kat admired deeply. She would jokingly call Lyric her mini-me. Would you please welcome Lyric to the stage?
I was born by the river in a little town. Oh, just like that river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know. Change won't come. Oh, yes, it will. People keep telling me no, don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change won't come. Oh, yes, it will. And then I go to my brother, and I say, brother, help me please. And he winds up knocking me right back down on my knees. Oh, there's been times when I thought wouldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change will come. Oh, yes, it will.
I'm good. Is this on? I'm recording artist David L. Cook, and I'm also the head of the Artist Music Guild, which Kat is a member of. And Kat touched me in many ways. Many were considered a felony. But she touched me. And I hope that there's nobody in here that gets offended by anything that I say today, because Kat and I were doing life together. I met Kat in 1997 when she first came, and we were doing a program for PBS. And the women's dressing room was all taken up, and Kat came running into my dressing room, and she said, "If you see something that you ain't ever seen before, shoot it." And she was trying to get ready, and she had her skirt to here, and a towel to here, and she kept looking down, and she said, "I need your help." And I said, "What do you need my help with?" And she said, "I'm wearing some Spanx, and they have rolled down. And me being a good Assemblies of God boy, I said, "I'll help you." And she opened her skirt, and they had rolled down. And I grabbed them, and I started rolling them back up. I said, "How far do I go?" She said, "Until it gets over my head." So later that day, we're sitting in the makeup chair. And they had two cosmetologists that were brand new. They still had the new smell. And you know, Kat was a dark sister. She was dark. And I told her one time, I said, "Kat," I said, "Honey, you are dark." And she said, "And you're an X-ray." I said, "Yeah, but you are so dark that if you got shot, the bullet would come back and ask for a flashlight, can't you?" And she looked at me and she smiled. And she said, David, I'm gonna cut you. But I want to tell you about Kitty Cat. See, when I would call Kat on the phone, the first thing I would say is, hey, Kitty Cat. And she'd say, hey, David. Kat and I had this place in Charlotte that we used to like to go, and we used to like to sit and talk all the time. And they had this huge, huge tree, and Kat loved this tree. It had to be over 150 years old. And we used to sit there and just sit underneath of it, and we would go and get some drinks and everything, we'd just sit there. And eventually this tree started getting sick. And pieces of it would fall. And we went out one day and they had started taking this tree down. And Kat just watched. And sooner or later they had taken it all down, and they had brought out this machine that was just like a big claw, and they just grabbed it and pulled it out of the ground. And all of these roots were just standing there. And it left this huge hole. And I thought about this a lot. Because under that tree, there was so much joy. Children climbed that tree. Animals found peace and homes in that tree. Love was had under that tree. And you see, today, as we say goodbye to our friend, I realized that she was that tree. We found peace in her. We found a friend in her. We found a place that we could go and we could laugh and we could cry. And she always gave us peace. And I remember when she got her kidney transplant, after I saw her for the first time, she looked at me and she stuck her butt out and she goes, does my new kidney make my butt look big? I said, I don't think that kidney had anything to do with that. But I want to tell you about that tree that got taken down that was known as Cat Williams. You see, her illness took her down piece by piece by piece. And finally, all we saw were the roots. I want you to look to your left and look to your right. You are those roots. You are those roots. But do not mistake that she left a huge hole where she once stood. But don't worry, because when Kat and I went back, we noticed there were little saplings coming up where that tree once stood. So through you, there will be saplings coming up. And Kat and I did a program one time, and we were out on the streets, and we saw this old man, and he was nothing but a whiner. And he sat there, and he just told people about Jesus. And we walked up to him, and there's an old song that Kat and I both knew, and she's like, how black are you to know this song? But the song said, I'm just a nobody
trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm just a nobody, trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. And when Kat got sick, she called me on the phone one day, and she said, David L., she said, I hope that if anything happens to me, that people won't forget me. I said, don't worry. And she said, David, I'm just a nobody, trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. And now I can hear her today. I can hear her today singing. Now I sing because I'm happy. Yes, I sing because I'm free. For it is all that will sparrow, and I know she's watching you. I love you, Kitty Cat.
On December 6th, 2018, a gift of love went from me to Kat, and it all started with a single word, yes. On August 11th, 2016, I went to a fundraiser for Kat at the Renaissance Hotel in Asheville, and she talked there about needing a kidney transplant. Something kept speaking to me, saying, sign up. I thought I can at least let them know I'm interested. So I said, okay. It wasn't a big deal, because over 80 people had signed before I ever put my name on the list. But I felt good about it. It was a good yes. But between August 2016 and December 2018, there were more than a dozen divinely inspired events and synchronicities. And my amazing journey with Kat and Patrice is chronicled on YouTube, so I'm not going to go into that today. Kat and Patrice and I were strangers at first, but like many others, Kat's infectious wit and love quickly made us into good friends. We had so much fun together. She really brought out the bawdy barber in me. I know you don't believe it, it's true. It's true. As you may know, Kat was not a big dancer, but I was. So I would tease her that I had my white girl disco, that she had my white girl disco kidney, and she better watch out if her hands started flailing around. And then a dream come true for me. It was a little serious, but I would take Kat back and forth to Duke after her transplant. And we sang karaoke in the car. Now my secret ambition always was to be a backup singer in a rock and roll band. Now I mentioned that to Kat more than once on these trips, but for some reason nothing seemed to happen. Occasionally, Kat and I would be talking after church or some event, and a nice person would come up and want to talk to us about the kidney transplant. I didn't want the attention. So what did Kat do? Well, she would sidle over to me, put her kidney side next to my right side with a start this kitty conversation. How you doing, sister? And I come back and say, well, hi, Sharon. How are you, Sharon Spare? How you doing? And, you know, that was enough to drive everybody away. But we had so much fun with that. Wasn't she something? I mean, she turned a difficult moment for me into something we could just laugh, and that was Kat, wasn't it? There were some hard times, though, and I would be with Kat and Patrice at Mission, or Pardee, or in the doctor's office. Kat's immune system was continually compromised because of anti-rejection drugs that she had to take every day without fail. But I want to tell you this. Kat Williams never let illness, she never let her physical limitations define her life. Never. She defied death because sacred purpose drove her to give back, to love, to inspire, to spread kindness, and bring everyone closer to the love of God. So we are all beings of light, aren't we? How does your light shine? Is it a brilliant sun? Is it a shimmering candle? Is your light a torch that illuminates dark corners in our world where injustice and greed and cruelty abound? To me, and many others, Kat Williams was a comet. Flames across the night, fire in her wake, lighting up our hearts with joy and boundless love. Her journey was one of courage from the day she was born until the day she went home. Like a comet, she was gone too soon. And now we have to hold her close in our hearts and have the indelible memory of a radiant, radiant soul. In closing, this is what Spirit taught me. When life presents you with an opportunity, whatever your doubts, just say yes to the first step. You don't have to agree to, you don't even have to know where that journey may end. Each step of the way, say yes until you have to say an authentic no. Because the miracle of life is in the unfolding of our unique potential as a messenger and a vessel of the divine. However your light shines, remember Kat, and do it with kindness. Kat, I am forever grateful to you, my sister, for your beautiful friendship and for having the honor of having been her donor. I love you, Patrice. Blessings to you and the family. Love you, Kat.
This is the song that Kat sang when she came back from having her kidney transplant. Now when I walk into this room and I look into your eyes, now somehow I
Selection by Chris just finished writing, and Tom and Chris and I we played hundreds and hundreds of gigs with her. I moved here shortly after she did in '99, and does anybody remember her place, which is now the White Duck Taco Cat's place? Anybody? Good days, good old times. And my drum set lived there, and I would play with her 3 nights a week for a long, long time. So many good memories, and there's so many funny things. And I wanted to say, I was going to talk about how she just became part of the family, and she would hang out with my kids, and she would lay on the floor, and my little kids would jump on her belly, and she just loved it. It was just the most beautiful thing. And I remember the first time I met her, it was just love at first sight. We just hit it off. But really, what I want to share is this morning I woke up really early and I went back to sleep and I had a lucid dream, and in the dream I was in a canoe, and all of a sudden I was going down a river, and there were mountains on the side, and it was a very fertile place, and I was in the front of the canoe. There was a shaman behind me, and all of a sudden Cat's spirit came in. It wasn't in human form so much, like sometimes if you have visitations from your people, but it was this huge spirit, and it was in the canoe with me, and then sometimes it was on the mountains, and it was all these ancestors on the mountain. We were going through, and there was rainbows, about 100 rainbows, and we just keep going through another rainbow, and And then she became the sky, and then she became the mountain, and then she became the trees. And she was going to a very special place, and she was really being well taken care of. And she was taking care of other people's. It was this ancient, ancient place. And then as I slowly woke up, and it took me a long, long time, she was there in my room, and then she was there in that house. I live out in the woods, and she was there in the trees, and she was in the sky, and I realized she's just everywhere. She's even more present now than ever. And I know a lot of you can relate to that. That's all I want to share. I love you so much.
Thanks, River. Like he said, we played so many gigs with her over the years. And as a piano player, playing a gig with her was absolutely terrifying. It could be I know there are a lot of musicians here, any key, any song, any era. And a lot of my goal playing with her was trying to get a song list in advance. Even if we could narrow it down to 100 songs. But she found out I was from the UK, my ancestry. She always called me her favorite colonizer. She would bring messages and say, "Hey, colonizer, I got a gig for us. Call me back." So this is a song I wrote this week, and it's called Grateful. In the spirit of Cat's Gig preparation. We've never played together, but what's the worst that could happen? I'm grateful to be here today. Grateful for the breath to say. I'm grateful for each day, every ring in my chest. I'm grateful, grateful.
Now, Darlene asked me to speak, and I know she knew that I would give a black woman's perspective of Cat Williams. See, black women talk to each other differently than they talk to other people. Did you know that? Well, it's true. And I know some people don't see color, but if you didn't see Cat Williams' color, you didn't see Cat Williams. I'm just saying. Cat and I met 20 years ago. I wrote a play and I was looking for some black women to critique the play. And I heard that Cat was singing at Jubilee, so I went to Jubilee. And when we saw each other, Cat looked at me and just said, "Lunch today." Asheville is a tough place. I don't know if you know this, but Asheville's a tough place for black northern women that love women and that don't attend a black church. And when Cat and I connected with each other, we were just sisters. She was from New York, I'm from New York. We just got each other. So that first lunch that I had with Cat, girl didn't have no sense. Girl didn't have no sense. We laughed and we cried and we laughed and we cried. And anytime I got with Cat, my cheeks would ache because I laughed so much. When Cat would sing in restaurants around town, she would introduce me as her sister. And my wife, Patrice, and I would get the complimentary dinner. So we'd get the complimentary dinner and listen to Cat sing. Sing, Cat. So like I told you, we did Black Women Talk together. And we just understood. We just understood each other. Cat and I both spend a lot of our lives loving people that don't look like us. And y'all can be exhausting. So we would talk to each other. I love you. And we know about Cat's generosity. Not only did she do 200 benefits, she also sang at many, many people's memorials, including my wife's mother's memorial. Cat came dressed in her prison guard uniform, and she sang "I'll Fly Away." So Cat would date women, and things weren't working out. They weren't working out. And so I said to Cat, "Cat, you need to find yourself a Patrice. You need to find yourself a Patrice and find somebody that wants to, create home with you." And so about 6 months later after I told Cat that, it was actually at her, I think it was at the benefit for her kidney. And Cat came up to me and she said, "Sis." I said, "What?" She said, "I found me a Patrice." She said, "Her name is Patrice." We fell out. And then she introduced me to her beautiful Patrice Boudreaux, her Cajun queen. And I'm just going to do an aside. Cat needed a large personality to love her. She found that Patrice. And whenever Cat was struggling, Patrice would call me and say, "Call your sister, Vern. Call your sister." In our last call of that nature, Cat was actually angry and felt defeated. She was tired. She was worried. She felt betrayed by the government. She felt betrayed by God. I never heard Kat sound that low before. And I just want to take this time to thank Patrice Boudreaux, because you alone know the full struggle that Kat went through. And I thank you for holding on to your sweet Kat. Sometimes she was sweet, sometimes she wasn't sweet. You know that. You be calling me Vern. Talk to your sister. Yeah. One of Kat's greatest legacies, and that is that she transformed her pain into love and treated everybody like they mattered and like they were someone. Kat and I would like to leave you with this. Repeat after me. I am somebody. I'm beautiful. I'm worthy. I'm lovable. I am somebody. I'm here. I matter. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody. Kat Williams will always be my sister. Come on. I'll remember her glory. Her laughter, her song, her pain, don't forget her pain. I remember that she loved me. Fly high, fly high, fly high, Sister Kat.
I'm not going to be able to say all that I wanted to say because I have to sing the song that they had picked out. And if I get choked up, I won't be able to sing the song. So I will read this poem that I had wrote and framed up to give to Patrice about Kat. And it's titled, Sing On, Sister, Sing. You sang like sunlight breaking through the clouds that thought they'd stay. Your laughter, holy mischief, a sermon wrapped in play. You could talk like thunder, then whisper like grace, holding heaven and earth in the same embrace. Every note you sang was truth, raw, radiant, and free. And somehow in your music, we found who we could be. Now the mic stands quiet, but I swear I hear your tune, dancing through the spirit wind, smiling at me. You taught us that love can sparkle, that healing can be wild, that God's got a sense of humor, and she's got a cat's smile. So sing on, sister, sing, from glory's golden shore. We'll keep your song inside our hearts until we meet once more. I think sometimes we all wish we knew what it was like to feel free. And I would say, even though she is gone, it keeps us green, to remember that we didn't have that luxury to leave and go home. We're still behind. It's not our time yet. But the one thing I do know that's lacking in this world that we all need is that love that Kat has shown. That human connection, that touch. To call a friend up, not text them. Call them up and tell them how you feel. It's been forever and a day, meet someone for coffee every now and then, hug your family, hug your friends. friends, your wife, your husband, your sisters, your daughters, your sons. This life is too short. If we don't get anything from all of this today, it's we need to love each other more.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains that hold me. I wish I could say all the things that I could say. Say it loud, say it clear, for the whole round world to hear. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish you could know what it means to be me. Then you see and you breathe that every man should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things that I can do, though I'm able to. I'm starting again. Well, I wish I could be like a bird. How sweet it would be if I found I can fly. Oh, I want to be and I would have to see. Then I sing 'cause I know it means to be free. I wish I could know, yeah, how it feels to be free. Yeah.
Good afternoon. So I didn't know it was this type of event. So I debated what I would say, and I would talk to you that tell you a bit about Cat Williams or his law enforcement. But as I listened this afternoon, I thought that I could say some things that I said I was not going to say. Because there's some things that I'm getting ready to share with you that I probably was not going to share until I listened to some of the comments that were made. So I feel that there's a safe space. So I'll tell you about my first met Cat Williams. So this is part of what I was going to tell you. So when I first met Cat Williams, I brought an individual into the detention center. When I brought the person in there, the individual had some few choice words for myself and Walt Robinson. I don't know how many you know Walt, but he's another person close and dear to me. But the individual that we brought in was really saying some harsh things and saying names that I started wondering why did he not say that before we brought him into the detention facility. But then I thought about maybe that's a good thing that he didn't, because I don't know where that would have went.
But something strange happened. Cat Williams came in, and she walked over to the individual, and she said, "You don't have to worry about them no more. You're gonna deal with me." So, although you see I'm a pretty big guy, Walt was bigger than me, and so I thought that he was really getting, something nice out of this cat. Said, "You now will deal with me." But she came over and she said, that's the part where I said, "No, can't share everything." But she said to him that, "Please don't say anything that I would find offensive." That was not the word she used. But she said, "Because if you do, I must warn you that I came from Sing Sing." So I said, "Wow, this is about to get interesting. Let's go over here to the side and watch this." So we started trying to urge him on to say something. Because we wanted to see what was about to happen. So if you get with me later, I will share what happened. So I want to, that was the part that I was not going to share, but here's the part I was going to share. It's about the corrections officer's creed. It isn't well known as police or military creeds, but in many ways, it hits just as hard. And the reason I tell you that is, as I get further into that, I want you to think about Cat Williams, because these words I will tell you is Cat Williams. I will also tell you that a mission statement, because then we're just like the military and law enforcement. We have mission statements, which means it tells you what we're going to do and tell you what our goals are. But I will tell you as the correction officers, they will tell you that it shows every time they walk in to the detention facility. They will tell you how important it is to uphold the creed. And if you were to ask 3 correction officers to recite the creed, you'll get 3 different answers. But the spirit is always the same. The work isn't glamorous, and it doesn't come with parades or public thanks, but there's a quiet pride that comes from walking inside a detention facility that most people couldn't handle for 5 minutes. Correction officer work means standing between chaos and order, making sure everyone goes home at the end of a shift. Whether they wear a badge, prison stripes, or in Buncombe County, we dress you up in orange jumpsuits. The heart of the creed is responsibility. For correction officers, that starts at the entrance door. You're there to ensure safety, yours, your co-workers, and yes, even the people behind the walls. This job is very challenging, and it's their fairness, their level-headedness under pressure, and the backbone to enforce the rules even when people push back. Respect is hard-won. One, never given. Your word has to mean something, even if only a handful of people understand the weight it carries. A correction officer creed might read something like this. I am a correction officer. My duty is to protect, to supervise, to enforce. I treat all individuals with dignity, upholding the law and the institutional rules without prejudice or malice. I am fair, I'm consistent, and I'm firm. I do not allow my authority to be abused, nor go unused. I prepare each day to face risk, confrontation, and uncertainties, because that is is what the job requires. I recognize my role as a thin line between safety and disorder. I will support my fellow officers because we are all we have inside these walls. I end every shift with integrity, unmoved by pressure, unbent by threats. Just maybe the world doesn't see what goes on inside correctional facilities. And maybe, if we're being honest, it doesn't want to. But correctional officers know they don't do the job for an applause. They do it because somebody has to do it and because they can. That in the end is a creed, spoken or not, the promise you make every day when they put on their uniform, and the quiet truth they carry it out when you finally go home. I'm gonna tell you today, the cat is at home. She touched some of you on the outside, she touched folks on the inside, but what she used came from the inside. When you met Cat Williams, and I can tell you this because I had other opportunities to meet Cat Williams, when she came back to work at the sheriff's office, it was different. Because Cat wanted to go to, they call it Department of Corrections, the school. She wanted to go and do that. But she started out in our program, but she wanted to go and do that. And that meant she had to go running. I mind you, Cat was already sick. But she still pushed forward. She would come walking past my office, and she would always be like, hey, I got this. And she would keep moving. And that even inspired me sometimes when I'm down and I'm low, I'm thinking about Cat Williams, that she was dealing with her sickness, but she still kept going on. And so I would ask you today, when you feeling down, you feeling low. If you need to lift up, think about Cat Williams, because she can lift you up. In her song and the way she touched individuals in our community. I will tell you this, and I will sit down. She's not gone, right? Because she now must live through each of us. And whenever we have that moment, we need to lift up and be Cat Williams for that moment. Reach out and touch someone else who needs that lifting up. I don't sing, so I'm not going to embarrass anybody about trying to sing. But I am in a place that I can speak to tell you that I love Cat Williams. I love what she did for our community through a song, but more importantly, in that detention facility, there was a lot of people who got to know Cat Williams because she reached out to them when they was in their most challenging times, when they didn't know if they was about to go away from life, and I don't get into why they were there, I get into they're there, and that we now must treat them with dignity and respect, which Cat Williams did. So today, I want to salute Cat Williams and say thank you.
sure what I was going to say today, but I'm going to do my best. I know. Kat loved you. She loved this town. She loved everything about it. When she and I met, I had no idea who she was. I had no idea. We met at a dance that was for all women, and she was with a good friend of hers. And I went up and I introduced myself, and first of all, I gotta tell you, she hated this story. I went up and I introduced myself, and the first thing, I introduced myself to her friend, and then I introduced myself to her, and I said, hi, I'm Patrice Boudreaux, nice to meet you, and she said, hi, I'm Kat Williams. And the first thing I said that came, because I have no filter, the first thing that I said, I was like, you say that like I'm supposed to know who you are. And then after that, I was like, well, hi, I'm Patrice Boudreaux. And that's kind of how our relationship started. And from then on, it was just me keeping her humble to what I thought was humble. But she was already humble. And I still to this day, even my family didn't realize how big she was, personality, people-wise. And still me too. It still surprises me. She will surprise me for as long as I live. I miss her. When we had this conversation about her having her service at First Baptist Church, I was like, oh, because you're Kat Williams. I was like, because you're so famous. And you're Kat Williams, oh my God. All these people. And sure enough, here we are. And she was just like, watch, just watch. Just wait, watch. And yeah, she's still saying that. I told you, I told you, I told you. Whatever, Kat. Kat has always been for the people. She always loved doing things for everyone. It was her pride and joy to be a part of your life and for you to be a part of hers. I don't know where things go from here, but we'll all make it work. She would be so grateful for the love and the appreciation that has come towards me from every single person I've met today and for the past week and a half. Thank you.
On Patrice's birthday, I believe it's September 8th. Is that your birthday? For some reason that morning, I sent a text to Kat, checking in with her. And she said, hey, Reb, I'm already in Raleigh at Duke. And I said, are you okay? She said, no, it's just yeah, I'm okay. It was just a checkup. I said, that's interesting. I'm going to Raleigh today. Okay, bye. So I went to Raleigh, and while I was in Raleigh, I heard from Patrice. She said, Kat said you were going to be in Raleigh. In her car, she has a flat. And she drives a bougie Mercedes, and they can't change the tire. I said, I'll be glad to pick her up. So I connected. Kat was waiting about halfway between Raleigh and Asheville as I picked her up. She was sleeping in her car when I got her. And when she got in, as Vern said, Kat was tired. I've seen that woman through all kinds of ups and downs. And that day, we both knew something was different. And I just had a sense that day that she's not long for this world. I didn't want to believe it. But I hope she'll remind us that everybody should have affordable health care, for God's sakes. This is the United States of America. Everyone should be able to love whoever they love. This is God's will. Can't work for that. And I'm asking us, just remain standing, I'm asking us, let us work for that. And I know most of you in this room already are, but if you ever need some inspiration, just think of what Sheriff Wooden said. Kat Williams, we all know had to go back to work because she needed insurance. She was trying to get herself in shape again to meet the requirements. And so that beautiful woman, on that day, when I picked her up, she was a hot mess. That's what she would tell me right now. She'd say, "Really, are you a hot mess?" She was a hot mess. She was honest, we laughed, we cried, and by the time she got home, she was laughing, and she said, "God, I needed that. But Kat, I needed that." And so our friend loved us. And in closing today, I want to invite you to repeat this prayer. We ended our services at Unity with this, and it's something Kat loved. One of the astronauts, literally, this prayer is on the moon. And it says this: the light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is. And all is well. One of Kat's favorite songs was "I Fly Away," so if you turn to page 37 in the hymnal, I'm just kidding. It's on your program. I'd also like to acknowledge Dr. Brandy Duncan for the sign language today.
Some black morning when his life is over.
so I can ask you to stand again. There's one thing that is on my heart that feels very appropriate for Kat. This doesn't happen very often in a memorial service, but that woman